Alright, now we're going to move on to the right ear and the left ear. So we're going to take our straw hat LEDs and we're going to go ahead and plug them in right here. And again, remember short leg with bent side of silkscreen, the mark here, and long leg with the bent side. So just like that. And then there's 4 more on this one. And then the same thing with the left ear. And now we're going to go ahead and flip these over and solder these LEDs into place. Now we're going to go ahead and trim off the leads here. Now we're going to take our 330 ohm resistors and we're going to plug them into the spots for where they belong. So what you need to do is take your resistor and then bend the leads at like a 90-degree angle like that. And then just plug it into place. So there's 5 spots here and 5 spots here. And then we're going to go ahead and solder the resistors into place. And then trim the leads off. So the ears are almost done. The last thing that needs to be added to the left ear is the 2 capacitors. You need a 10 microfarad and a 0.1 microfarad. So the electrolytic 10 microfarad capacitor is polarized, which means that it matters which way you plug it in, just like the LEDs. So if you plug this thing backwards, it can explode. So watch out for that. Make sure you plug it in the right way. And it goes right here. So it's clearly marked here plus and minus. And if you look at your capacitor, there's like a little band here that has a minus on here. So this is the minus. Again, short leg, short leg, minus, long leg, plus. So we're going to go ahead and plug it in like that. So long leg on the left, short leg on the right. And push that into place and bend it over a little bit. And then we're going to put the 0.1 microfarad capacitor. You need to buy ceramic capacitors. You don't want to use an electrolytic 0.1 microfarad capacitor. You want to buy a ceramic one. So one that's like this, not circular cylindrical tube thing. That's just what you need to do. And if you get a ceramic, it's not polarized, so it doesn't matter where you put it. You could put it this way, or you could put it this way. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pop this in here. And we're going to go ahead and solder this into place. And then trim these leads too. And then one last thing, we're going to go ahead and tin all these pads here, here, and here. Take your soldering iron, take your solder, and then just apply some solder as you heat the pads with your soldering iron. And just kind of go along here, tinning each pad. And then don't forget about these ones in the top left. I'm going to set this guy aside, and we're going to tin these pads here on the right ear. And we're going to go ahead and set these aside, as these are more or less done. We just have to add wires and connect them to each other, but other than that, these are ready to go. And then we move on to the little control board thing. which has a couple buttons on there. Come on, there you go. We got ear, chin top, and chin bottom controls. So what we're going to go ahead and do is put three 6mm push buttons here and solder them into place. So to place the buttons, just take a button and hold it this way and populate it like this, so that the legs are sticking out to the left and to the right. Alright, and then what you want to do is just flip these over and solder the four pads on each button. But be careful, if you flip them over, they tend to fall out like that. So kind of wedge them in there a little bit. If you want, you could, you push it in, you could bend the leads just a tiny bit so it doesn't fall out. And now the buttons are secured, and we're going to go ahead and tin these little pads here. You know, something like that. And we're going to go back to the chins right now, because we still have to populate the MAX 7219 and the resistors and capacitors. So we'll do that right now. So you'll need two of these chips, MAX 7219. I tell you to get three just in case you screw it up, so, or you lose one or something like that, or one gets damaged somehow. So that's why I suggest you get more components than you actually need, just in case, you know, something happens with them. Anyways, basically what you want to do is take this chip, you see this little notch here, little notch there, kind of plunk that chip right in there and solder it into place. However, you can't just do that as easily because the leads on the chips are kind of like splayed out, they're like that. And you want to squish them in a little bit to make them fit. So what I tend to do is take the chip, hold it by the edges, press it against the table, and kind of roll it to put the leads kind of more parallel to each other. Here's the original chip, or an unbent one and a bent one. You can see that the leads are slightly bent inward a little bit on this one here. So you want to do that to both integrated circuits. Because if you don't, you won't be able to stuff it in here. So you're gonna plop that chip in. Again, follow the notch. If you put it backwards, bad things will happen. You'll be putting power on pins that can't handle power, and this thing will get hot, and your battery pack will get hot, etc., etc. Not a good thing to do. So make sure to follow the notch. And then once you pop the chip in, you might want to bend a couple of these leads so it doesn't fly out. Just like that. And then we want to populate the chip on the other side. So take your chip, notch, notch, put them together, and bend the leads, and solder them into place. Now we're going to move on to soldering the 47K ohm resistors. So you need 2 per board. So again, bend them like this into kind of a U shape and plop them into place. Now I'm going to go ahead and solder this side and this side. Alrighty, now we're going to go ahead and populate the 10 microfarad capacitor and the 0.1 microfarad capacitor. So the 10 microfarad goes there, 0.1 microfarad goes there. Again, polarized capacitor, make sure you put it in the right way. Short leg is negative, long leg is positive. So like this. And again, the ceramic one doesn't care. This is why you get a ceramic, among other reasons. Same thing for the other side. And we're kind of done soldering all the components into place. We're going to go ahead and tin these and these. Alright, so that's all the components soldered into place. Now all we have to do is just interconnect all these components together, which will be done next.